Brett Bruen, former director of global engagement in the Obama White House, now president of the Global Situation Room, is with us. Brett, look, you can argue policy vis-a-vis Israel, but why do our allies get lectured and our enemies effectively get a free pass to continue their repression?
Well, it's inconvenient, and quite frankly, Leland, if we took on the issue of Cuba, then we would have to probably do something about it. And that is a reluctance the Biden administration has had from the beginning. One of the criticisms that I've had throughout this administration is when it came not just to Cuba, but Venezuela, Colombia, even Mexico, some of the deterioration in both the human rights situation, and certainly the democratic norms, went unaddressed. And in some cases, like Venezuela, we actually rewarded Maduro even before he organized free and fair elections. And we're seeing the results of that now.
Now, I think it's not only about Cuba, right? Because Cuba, and you rightly point out there are other countries, but I think about Cuba, communist thugs 90 miles from our shore who are very cozy both with China and obviously Russia, but then Iran. And I'm wondering, since you've got this perspective of both the Obama administration and the Biden administration, we're going to play not President Biden, but President Obama on Cuba and Iran. Take a listen.
We will begin to normalize relations between our two countries. Through these changes, we intend to create more opportunities for the American and Cuban people. The United States, together with our international partners, has achieved something that decades of animosity has not: a comprehensive long-term deal with Iran that will prevent it from obtaining a nuclear weapon.
What is the obsession with working with these regimes, both in Cuba and in Iran, and not taking the opportunity to help overthrow them? Twice missed in Iran, and now missing in Cuba, that opportunity.
Well, in fairness, overthrowing governments, regimes is messy, as we've seen both in Iraq and Afghanistan. But at the same time, there were a lot of errors when particularly it came to the approach with Cuba. We didn't actually get a comprehensive deal. We got a few minor concessions, and then Air Force One landed in Havana, and we sort of paraded out a new era in relations, when in actual fact, there were not any irreversible changes. They didn't even release all of the political prisoners, and we're seeing the results, both of that on the human rights front, but also the mismanagement continued. And that's why people are on the streets of Cuba now. It's because the regime there has essentially denied their people so many basic food, medicine, and other services.
Right, but the question remains, though, we say an awful lot about what Israel should do as it relates to their war in Gaza. There's talks of conditioning aid. You talk about overthrowing a regime. Chuck Schumer, close ally of the president, talks about overthrowing Bibi Netanyahu. It's time for Netanyahu to go, on and on and on. And yet, you think about what Cuba's done, allowed China and Russia to build and operate spy bases, recruit spies to penetrate the inner circle of the U.S. government, election meddling, something that allegedly Democrats don't like, 2016, 2022, expected again in 2024, possible attacks on U.S. diplomats. It says possible, but almost certainly attacks on U.S. diplomats, called Havana syndrome. And I think about all that. What could we be doing if, rather than having this obsession with cozying up to these regimes and getting them to act better, we actually wanted to put the thumbscrews to them? What could we do?
Well, it's interesting. In the case of Cuba, a solution runs through Caracas because Nicolas Maduro and before him Hugo Chavez essentially were a lifesaver for the Cuban regime. And we unfortunately didn't see the three-dimensional diplomacy that was required here. So we eased the pressure on Venezuela, and that allowed sort of Cuba to have somewhat of a reprieve. So if we want to put more pressure on Cuba, we got to put more pressure on Venezuela. And that ultimately, I think, as we have witnessed just in the last few hours, will result in the people of Cuba saying, enough is enough.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.